Hey everyone, it's Jordan. So for this module, as we look at the different online competencies, I have a weather assignment that I actually created for one of the classes that I took for the ACTE program. But also this is kind of cool because I've had the chance to actually use this with some of my students in online instruction as well. So not only did I create it, but I've also had a chance to use it to see how it worked, and then also look at what I need to revise and revamp for next time if I need to use this again. So for this course that I created for one of my classes, I did it on weather instruments and also on clouds. So as we look at the different competencies, the first one is on design and instruction. So the first standard there, just the teacher knows the primary concept and structure of an effective online instruction and is able to create learning and experiences to enable student success. So for this unit that I created, and then when I actually did it with my class, I had a synchronous lesson for my students to actually use during Zoom, and then I also recorded it as well, because again, and I've mentioned this in my other modules, students can't always come to a synchronous lesson for whatever the reason may be. So I did record this and post this for them on Schoology as well in case they missed it and needed to go back and look at it. But again, the goal here is, doing different things to create effective online instruction. So I tried to include different pieces in here. So again, I have a lot of pictures, I have a lot of links. You can see some practice assignments. So again, here we're focusing on weather tools, so practice using a thermometer. I have a video here of an experiment to practice air pressure using barometers, using rain gauges, looking at the Beaufort scale here, which measures wind, speed and direction, and just different things the students can experience from a calm wind all the way to a hurricane. So again, the goal here for effective instruction is trying to apply this as much as we can to students' lives and things that they experience every day outside the classroom. So that was one of the big goals here that I was looking for when I did this this class. The second thing here, able to use a range of technology. So I've already talked about. I do have a lot of videos embedded in here, some different links as well, different pictures and things that I've included on these slides for the students to use. And again, we were doing this synchronously when I was doing it with my students, but also if students had to do this asynchronously. Just making sure, first of all the embedded videos work, which they do. All of the links take them to the right place, which they do as well. And just making sure, being mindful of the fact that if students are doing this on their own, everything needs to be up and running for them ahead of time, so that way they're able to do it. And then finally, the third thing here in the design and development, we're looking at academic needs and incorporating accommodations. And I talked about this in one of our other modules as well. This is probably the most difficult thing, at least for me, when it comes to online instruction, is making sure we're still meeting the individual needs of our students, whether they're IEP goals, GIEP goals, 504 goals, or whatever they need, whatever they might be. So for some of these especially, so I'll pull up this slide here, for the reading portion, for a lot of students, this is kind of the big barrier for them. So again, when we're doing this synchronously, I do a lot of this read aloud. I think that's one of the ways that we can accommodate for our students, because a lot of my students can do it, they just need to hear it. And again, as I'm doing this read aloud, I'm recording it as well, so if students need to go back and listen to it again, they can hear it another time. So that's something that I always try and do to accommodate different student needs. Also, using the videos as well. Again, I keep them short, I keep them brief, to the point. The videos that I've embedded in here and linked in here, I've tried to use. And again, that's just another great way for students to be able to hear it and see it, and then hopefully it can help them do it on their own if they need to. So the second competency here is delivery. So the first one here, the online teacher plans, designs, and incorporates strategies to encourage active learning. So that one I did more when we went down into the clouds portion. So for the clouds, we talked about different types of clouds. And then I had this portion here where the students had a chance to actually act it out. So trying to help them, get actively engaged in their learning. So when we're talking about different types of clouds, just again, giving them just short, silly ways to remember a cirrus cloud versus a cumulus cloud versus a stratus cloud. And over here on the right-hand side, you can see I had them, acting things out. So putting their hands high up in the air. Cirrus sounds like circus, making a big circus tent. Cumulus clouds is accumulating. So I had them put their hands in the middle, kind of their waist, and like pretend they're accumulating a big pile of stuff, like a big puffy cumulus cloud. Stratus cloud, I had them do a straddle. getting as low to the ground as they can. So, again, just whatever ways that you can do to make learning fun and engaging for the students, and just silly things that you can do to help them remember things. That's important even when it comes to, doing things online. Second thing, promoting students' success through clear expectation, prompt responses, regular feedback. So again, when we were doing this synchronously, I'm able to do that right there on the Zoom as we're going through this and learning this together. But also, and I'll talk about this a little bit later when I talk about the assessment, just as students went and did the assessment that goes along with this, making sure that I'm giving them good, effective, useful feedback. That was one of the big things we talked about in this course that we just took here in the winter. Not just good job or great job, but providing them feedback that's effective and something that they can actually take and that's meaningful to them. The third thing here in the delivery, again, being cognizant of the diversity of student academic needs, and I've already talked about that in the first one. Just understand that even in online instruction, you're going to have a big, wide range of students, and just the things that you do need to make sure you're meeting all the needs of all the different types of learners that you'll have. So the third thing here, the assessment, and this is a big one that when it comes to online instruction, and we talk about when students are taking assessments, making sure they're given a variety of different assessments, but also the academic integrity. And this is probably one of the biggest struggles for me right now with doing online instruction is, how do we ensure that the assessments the students are taking are genuine, they're doing them on their own, they're not getting any outside help. And ultimately, we can try the best we can. Is it going to be 100% effective? Probably not. But this is the assessment that I used for this unit. So I used an app called Gizmo, and it's really cool. So what the students do is we use Clever here in my district. So even in an online setting, the students access this app through Clever, and then they go through the Gizmo using the app. And a lot of it is just, hands-on, them doing things. So I'll switch screens here and I can pull open an example of what it looks like real quick in the screencast. So on the Gizmo on their iPad, they're given directions from the Gizmo, and then they actually do it on their iPads, and everything is very interactive. So there's a little pre-assessment here that they go through, and then again the Gizmo gives them specific directions, gives them specific things to click, looking at specific times here. And this assessment measures a couple of different things, which is really neat. Number one, they have to follow the directions, and I tell them that ahead of time. If they don't follow the directions, they've tried to just skip ahead and just get it done quick. The Gizmo actually doesn't work. So that's one of the really nice things about this, is they have to follow the directions. They have to do it the right way. But everything is laid out for them. So again, in terms of when we're looking at academic integrity, an assessment like this, I feel like is one of the better options. It's not a pencil paper test. It's not like, just answering questions where they could just, look it up on Google without us knowing or whatever. But it's something they actually have to be doing. So, with online instruction, anytime that we can put together something like this, for the students to be doing more like a performance assessment, I think that's going to give us some, good, genuine data, and hopefully the students are doing it, on their own, and they're, maintaining academic integrity. Final thing here, emerging trends and professional responsibilities. So again, the online teacher models guides and encourages legal, ethical, and safe behavior related to technology. So we talk a lot about being just good digital citizens when it comes to online instruction, and what that looks like. And again, we tie that into also, academic integrity as well, not cheating, doing your best work, making sure you're not getting extra help on assessments and things like that. And we do a lot of that in the beginning of the year. We talk about that. Whether it's an online classroom or a face-to-face classroom, just maintaining that integrity piece and just being a good digital citizen. The second thing, the online teacher interacts in a professional, effective manner with all people, colleagues, parents, other members of the community. So again, with these lessons, I do them synchronously on purpose, so that way, the students and I have the ability to form a relationship, teacher to student, also student to student as well. Sometimes I open up different breakout rooms, and we'll do, collaboration activities and things like that that go along perfect with this one. And finally, the online teacher arranges media and content to help students and teachers transfer knowledge most effectively in the online environment. So, as I'm doing this synchronously, I do try to incorporate different things, me teaching directly, using videos, using links, using pictures, just whatever, I can do to try to keep the students actively engaged, and also just using, different pieces of technology as well. So as we wrap up this module and wrap up this class, a couple of things to consider. So where I'm going next, I still have a couple of more courses to take actually before I finish this program. So that'll be the next step that I'm doing, is finishing this program hopefully within the next year or two. But then, where are we going next from here? It's been good learning these different pieces of technology and things that we can do, and just, looking at standards as it relates all about the online learner. And for some of us, this might be the path that we choose to take in the future, with a lot of students and parents considering different instructional choices, school choices. Online learning is becoming, I think, a choice that's becoming more popular as students are just, still navigating their way through the pandemic, or, even moving into the future. If students are just realizing that, a large classroom of face-to-face learners just isn't for them, and online instruction is more conducive to their learning, I think parents are going to consider, using that more and more. So, at my district here, we do have someone that is in charge of the online program, and there are specific teachers that are involved within the online program for the students that are currently, using what our school has to offer. And I think, different schools are going to start offering, even more and more as we move into the future for those students that need it. So who knows, for this, once I finish the program, that might be a direction I take. But also, even if you don't specifically become an online instructor, there's still a lot of really cool pieces that hopefully you've taken from the courses in this program that you can use even with your face-to-face students as well. So again, that's another thing I plan on doing. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this course, when I put it together, for one of the courses I took and then actually used it with some of my students, I did it in both fashions. So I had some face-to-face students and some online students at the same time. So, I was able to see how it works both in a face-to-face environment and also a online environment as well. So those are two thoughts that I had as I move forward. So again, as we wrap up here, it's been a pleasure, collaborating, working with you this winter semester as we went through some different things together. And best of luck to everyone as they continue on in their program.